Right now, the federal government is out of control. When Barack Obama was elected, the national debt was $10 trillion. Today, 3.5 years later, it's $16 trillion. You know, I'll tell you, a couple of weeks ago at the Republican convention in Tampa, when I was speaking there, I mentioned when my daughter Caroline, who's 4, when she was born, our national debt was $10 trillion. Today, it's $16 trillion. When I got home that night, I was looking at Twitter, and Paula Poundstone, the comedian, had tweeted that night, Ted Cruz just said when his daughter was born, the national debt was $10 trillion. Now it's $16 trillion. What the heck did she do? and I have to admit, my wife Heidi and I laughed pretty hard at that. But you know, it really does underscore $10 trillion took 43 presidents over 2 centuries to build up. One president in 3.5 years has grown that 60%. That is a fundamental structural shift in our government. When Barack Obama was elected, federal government expenditures were 20% of GDP. They're now 25% of GDP. We are not just walking, we are galloping down the road to European-style socialism, to what's happening in Greece and in Italy. And you know, as Margaret Thatcher put it, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. I mean, that's the challenge we're facing. And unfortunately, there's a culture in Washington where the way you cut a bipartisan deal, the way a Democrat and Republican work together is they put their arms around each other and they say, I'll spend for your project, you spend for mine. And that's how you bankrupt the country. In 4 centuries, every generation of Americans has given to their kids and grandkids a brighter future, greater opportunity, greater prosperity. We're on the verge of becoming the first generation in history to give our kids and grandkids a bleaker future, less opportunity, less prosperity. And you know, that is utterly unacceptable to me, and I know it is utterly unacceptable to millions of Americans, and that's why we're seeing the Great Awakening. That's why the Tea Party movement is happening, because men and women all across this country are saying, no, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not give away the incredible legacy of this shining city on a hill that has produced the greatest opportunity and prosperity in the history of the world. If you look at the new generation of leaders that came in 2010, it was transformational. And what I think is critical is that in 2012, we double their numbers. Because if we have strong free market leaders that are willing to roll up their sleeves and say, we've got to cut the Leviathan, we are not willing to give our kids this crushing, oppressive debt. You know, I've asked a number of times, imagine if someone broke into your home, stole everything you own, took your credit cards, and charged hundreds of thousands of dollars on your credit cards to foist crippling debt on your children. That's exactly what politicians of both parties are doing in Washington right now, and it's why the American people, it's why Congress has a 9% approval rating. You know, the thief wouldn't have a 9% approval rating. And how do we change it? We change it by having a new generation of leaders in Washington. I think that's happening. 2010 was the first half of the Tea Party tidal wave. We need 2012 to be the second half, and I'm convinced it will be.